What is up, my peoples? This is gonna be a long video, I'm sure. There's a lot to talk about, and so I got my coffee already, and my whipped cream is melting. I probably shouldn't have whipped cream on it, but whatever, I want to get fancy. So if you are actually willing to sit and listen to me talk for who knows how long, I would suggest getting a snack or a drink, or I don't even know. And I hope that everything that I say comes out correctly. I'm kind of all over the place emotionally. I have not done a chit chat video in a while, and I haven't been making a lot of videos in general, and I'm like, like I feel so disconnected and so, oh, kitty's prowling outside. Yeah, just disconnected and wondering where I even fit in anymore, or even if I do fit in. And you know, I make videos because I enjoy them, and then, but I think on other levels, like if you don't feel like you belong, then it's kind of like, do you really enjoy that? So yeah, so I'm just gonna, so I'll start there. I started my first channel years ago, and that was when the community was really new, and it was fun and exciting to like watch other people do their makeup. And I feel like now the community is so like inundated with so much stuff that like you can't really, it's hard to stick out. It's hard to gain a following without spending an outrageous amount of money. And honestly, I am very aware that I do not have the like artistic talent to stick out. Like I do my makeup and I like to play and figure out what works and what doesn't. But I have nothing extraordinary makeup wise to bring to the table. Like my makeup tips, like they're already out there, you know, like I'm not giving you something that you've never heard of before. So it doesn't make sense for me to put like the time and effort into a makeup look that is so simple that it's already out there and you already know how to do it, or somebody else is out there doing it, but they do it better. Like, and I know that, you know, like I watch other people's tutorials because I want to know how they do what they're doing so good. Does that make sense? So there's that. So then I'm like, okay, well then, you know, then what next? Hauls. You can definitely tell if you have been watching my video for the last year that I have cut way back on spending, and there's multiple reasons. So one of the reasons is that a couple years ago I decided to go cruelty free. I was very ignorant to like what cruelty like was, like what animal testing was within the cosmetics industry. I don't agree with it in general, but specifically in the cosmetic industry where it's so unnecessary. Like, and there's so many things that I could say on that that I'll leave out of this video, but there's other people's videos that have great information. I have past videos where I've talked about it. I'll see if I can, I mean, I've mentioned it in a lot of videos. I'm like, I wonder if I can link them. But it just like, it's not acceptable to me. And it was really hard to let go because I had spent a lot of time and money to build up the collection that I had. And specifically, like my one holy grail product that I super duper loved is my Naked palette, like the original Naked palette. And I still use it up. Like I don't use it in videos, but I'm still using it up because I'm not going to just throw it away. But I can't repurchase it. I can't show it in videos. I can't say like, hey, this is the color that I use, because I will not advertise a company that I no longer support. And I know like some people still comment on my very first like makeup purge video, and I made a new video to like explain why I don't think that they're cruelty free, and I linked it in that video, and people still want to always comment. Urban Decay is on Leaping Bunny. Okay, Urban Decay is on Leaping Bunny, and it is notated that they are owned by a company that is not cruelty free. I have explained that while, like, first of all, I don't even trust Urban Decay, so I don't trust that they're, like, I don't trust anything about that. That just bothers me. But say Urban Decay does not test on animals, or say, like, this specific Urban Decay product was not tested on animal, or whatever, I'm still giving the money to this company. So if I continue to buy Urban Decay, but I'm still giving it to this evil corporation that is, like, mutilating and torturing animals, then what's the point of me even, like, not buying the products that I would love to buy? Like, that, to me, there is no point, because I'm not making a difference at that point. Some people think if you buy from that company, then you're supporting this bigger, that you're telling that company that you want this. No, they're sitting there with their feet kicked up, and they're like, ha 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 ha, we're making all this money from these products and these products. Like, they are not suffering anything. If you continue to give them money, they have no reason to change. It's when you take your money away from them that they need to start rethinking about what they're doing. So there's that. And what is frustrating about that, as you can understand, is that as time goes on, more companies get bought out, which is just really irritates me, that more companies just are like, oh, well, we're just gonna, like, get rid of our morals and whatever. We're not gonna be cruelty free anymore. And I just think that really sucks. And, or the fact that, like, them having more money means more to them than, you know, maintaining good morals. So I just kind of feel like, well, I don't want to keep investing in companies that are going to continually, like, change. You know, I had started buying only Stila, only Tarte, only Too Faced, and Stila and Tarte have been bought out. So Too Faced, and if there's a bigger company that I have a little bit of faith in, it's Too Faced, because of how, like, big of a proponent the, like, president of the company is. But who even knows? I can't even say. But, you know, we'll see. So I started to just, I was like, okay, well, I need to use some of these products up. A lot of stuff I've given away. The stuff that is just, I don't feel comfortable giving away, like, I'm using up. And so I'm like, well, I don't need to keep buying if I have stuff to use, even though I really like the makeup products. But it's like, I need to use up some of this stuff. I have some stuff that I can sell, but then I feel bad selling it, because then I don't want to, like, support those companies. But I'm like, well, I don't know. So I might be doing, I took some pictures of my stuff. I might be selling some stuff that is not cruelty free, so that I can, like, maybe replace some things that are cruelty free, because it's something I'm passionate about. But I've literally been hanging on to these things for a long time because I just feel bad. And so I just kind of feel like, you know what, if I'm going to buy, then I'm going to buy from an indie brand, as someone that actually gives a darn about animals and gives a darn about their welfare and will stick to their morals. And a lot of times those products are healthier for you. So there's that other aspect, you know, that I want to be more natural. There's a lot of things that I've changed. There's a lot of things that I still need to change. And so I just, you know, there's that. And then the other thing is money. And that's a hard topic for people to talk about. It's hard for me to talk about. But I want to get out of debt. Like, that is, like, I have debt. That is the first, like, thing. And I'm sure many of you that are watching have debt. Those of you that don't, stay out of debt. It's like one of the worst things that you can do for yourself. And so it's, you know, I wasn't raised in a household that had a lot of money. My grandparents had debt. Nobody ever taught me how to really use money correctly. And it's just, you know, how to best manage things. And so now I'm just like, you know, I want to be more financially savvy. So I've spent, like, this last year reading money articles and books and websites and trying to educate myself, and realizing that we are way far from where we want to be, and we are in so much debt that it's suffocating sometimes. And I'm like, what? Like, this is not how I want to live, you know? And so I would rather be out of debt than continue to buy makeup that I really can't afford. Because like if the money, you know, like, yeah, you might get your paycheck and you have your money and then you can buy this, but then that's money that you're not putting towards something that you should be paying off. And so I'm really conservative with my spending, like with cosmetics and stuff. Yeah, I do my Vitacost hauls and I get my skincare that I need to replace, and I buy some foodstuffs, and every once in a while I get a little something. Like I did buy something from the Sephora sale. I bought one thing. I bought the Josie Marin gift set that was in the Bubblegum Princesses video. I saw her video and was like, and I really debated. I was like, oh my goodness, like, but it's stuff that I will use. It has a skincare, it has the argan oil that I like to use. And so with the 20% off, I was like, okay, this is like this little item that I'm gonna buy, but I'm not going out and buying all this stuff. There's a lot of sales right now. There's a lot of Black Friday advertisements coming out, and I'm like, I can't buy that. Like I can't, like I have to refrain. There's a couple things like that I need to replace, and that's just a part of life. You know, I haven't gotten my hair cut in I don't know how many months. Like it's finally, let's see if I can show you. It's like really thinning out at the end, but if you can see, it's pretty long. And so I'm finally going for a cut on Saturday because I haven't done my hair in a really long time. And so there's just a lot of going on there. But so anyways, so I'm not going to be doing like all these crazy haul videos buying products, and some people might be like, okay, well, who cares if a company goes cruelty free or non-cruelty free after you buy them? For one, that limits what I can share with you guys. Like I have to be really intentional about which products I use and which products I show you, because I can't show you like the stuff that is no longer cruelty free, and then I just don't have the money to constantly replace. And that's why I want to stick to more indie brands, because I feel confident that they are going to stick to their guns and stick to maintaining a cruelty free status, because then those are products that I don't necessarily have to worry about as much as the ones that are sold at Ulta or Sephora, etc. And so it's, you know, and then it's just like, do I really need 20 eyeshadow palettes? No, I don't need 20 eyeshadow palettes. I want them. I really want them. I want all the lipsticks. I want like the entire stock of Silk Natural lipsticks. I would love to buy a ton of Josie Marin stuff. I would love to try Becca. I would love to try Hourglass. Like, I look at these things and I really, really want them, but then like I realize like I have a goal and I want to meet that goal. And one is, and those, like Josie Marin and Hourglass are cruelty free as of right now. So on, you know, like I have to say no because of money, and then like if there's products from another line that isn't cruelty free, then I'm like, oh, I can't have that because it's so pretty. And some people will just keep buying because they're like, well, I like that product, so I'm going to keep buying it. And for me, like, that's just, you're doing it out of convenience, you know, like you don't care enough about the issue to sacrifice. And it is a sacrifice for someone that loves makeup. Choosing to give a lot of that up is a sacrifice. And you know, some people might be like, oh, it's just makeup. But if you're really passionate about it, that's really difficult. And it's actually an emotional thing to have to give that up. But not only that, not only are you giving up the product that you love, but you also know that that's just more animals that are going to be tested on. Those are more animals that are going to be tortured. And it's just not right. Like, it's just like my heart breaks for them and it's not right. And so like I have to take a stand. What's more important to me, wearing pretty makeup or, you know, doing my part to not contribute to that? And that's more important to me. And I can't tell other people what's important to them. I can't tell you what is right for you. I know I know what's important to me, and other people that decide what's important to them and what cause they want to fight for, you know, all that. So there's that. Gosh, I think we're like already over 10 minutes in. What else do I got going on? There's a lot of stuff. Okay, so the money stuff, like I'm not sure how comfortable I am talking about it because it is such an awkward and embarrassing topic to talk about, but I also feel like it's something to learn. Like, I like watching other people on YouTube that talk about finances because I'm learning and you can progress together. And I feel like it's important to not owe. And I think it's so easy as a culture to get into the cycle of debt and owing somebody, some creditor, something. And I kind of got to age 30 a lot faster than I felt like I was getting to age 30, and not really realizing what your money needs to look like now in order to have a successful 20 years from now or 30 years or whenever you retire. Like, really how much money we need to be saving for ourselves in order to be more secure later in life. I guess I'll kind of see what the feedback is here about that, and I'll decide from there. The other thing, I haven't done Operation Don't Be Fat videos because I'm still fat, and so, and if I cry at any point, like, I'm just like, this is an honest video, so that's just what it is. I mentioned it briefly, I think, in the past, that I have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. There's a lot that I didn't know about it, or a lot that, like, I kind of felt like out of control, and, like, I don't know, it was hard to kind of, I never really had the symptoms. A lot of times, like, the most obvious symptoms are obviously like being irregular with your periods, not having a monthly periods, being overweight, and being excessively hairy because of the hormone imbalance. And I never had those things except for the irregular periods. I've always been irregular. I can go 6 months without a period, 8 months, 3 months. I've had, like, and every month that I go without a period, the cysts grow, and I've had ruptured cysts. And but, like, when I was first diagnosed, I was 22, and my doctor was just like, well, we'll just put you on the pill and that's what manages it. And I was like, all right, started having monthly periods and everything was fine and dandy. Well, fine and dandy. And then I wanted to get off the pill. I wasn't comfortable anymore because I had started the pill originally when I was 16 because of the painful periods. And so but I didn't really seek out a ton of information. I just kind of was like, oh, okay, I'll deal with it when it's time. And so when I got pregnant with Gwendolyn without trying, we were shocked. Doctors had told me, like, you'll have a really hard time getting pregnant. You'll probably need assistance. You'll probably miscarry. Like, they made it seem so dire. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I'm going to lose this baby. And so it was interesting. It was a very I was really kind of shocked. When I told my OB, my new OB, that I had PCOS, she kind of doubted me. She's like, well, you're not overweight, like, you don't have excessive hairiness. And I'm like, yeah, but I have irregular periods. And she was like, well, kind of just like hem and hawed it, kind of threw it off. I was like, all right. And at my first ultrasound, like, they were able to see the cysts, like, all over my ovaries. So they're there. But then, like, through the pregnancy, they went away. So that was awesome. But then we moved out here. I got a new doctor. I didn't get an OB right away. I started seeing a family practitioner. And at that point, in the first year, having irregular periods is not abnormal because, like, if you're nursing and your body's changing, but, like, I didn't have a period for a couple years after I had my daughter. And so I started talking to my doctor about it, and she was like, well, like, are you trying to have a baby right now? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, then I wouldn't really worry about it. And I was like, okay. And I just kind of, like, let it go. And then when I started watching Ecoholic Beauty, like, she talked a lot about working with your body naturally. And I was like, oh, there's books and there's people who've overcome PCOS on their own. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to start researching this. And so I did bring it up to my OB, or my doctor again, and she's like, well, I'll run your blood tests and see. And they ran my blood test, and then she was like, everything's fine. And I was like, okay, but what about my periods? So I was like, whatever. So then it's gotten to the point where, like, we've been talking about having more kids, and that's something that I haven't mentioned at all because I didn't know like how I wanted to approach that with videos as well. Which is, we'll talk about it separately, I guess. And so I made an appointment with a highly recommended OB. And my first appointment, I explained to her my history, and she was like, yeah, she's like, we're going to do that. I love her office because she's the only doctor, but they do everything in house. So you can do your ultrasounds, you can do like the blood work and everything. So she drew my blood that day. I went back, I went back a few days later to get an ultrasound. So they did the ultrasound, and sure enough, both my ovaries were completely covered in follicles, which are like the start of cysts. And then my blood test showed that my hormones are like off balance by quite a bit. And when that happens, like you automatically kind of knock your insulin levels off balance, which is one of the reasons why it's hard for women to lose weight while they have PCOS. So then she put me on metformin, not because I'm diabetic, but because like that can help kind of bring things back to a more even level. And then she also said that it'd be beneficial to adopt a diabetic type diet. Again, not because it's diabetes, but because it's an insulin issue, then like it just helps in like losing the weight. And then so she told me that my stomach would probably hurt, and she was right. The medicine, like when I started metformin, it made me feel really sick to my stomach. So, and then I also went to see a dietitian. So I'm seeing a dietitian, and I just feel like there's something so wrong with me that even with seeing a dietitian that I still can't seem to get a handle on my food intake, and which is really discouraging. But I think that that's a bigger issue, which is the other issue is that I have started to see a therapist and a psychiatrist because my depression has only gotten worse and worse and worse. And I kept thinking like with time or, something would get better. And I literally have just gotten to the point where like there are days that I don't care about living anymore because like, and sometimes when you say that, people like really just don't understand. They become very judgmental, and they think, well, you have so much to live for. You have your husband, you have your daughter. And it's like, you don't understand. Like when you are in that mentality, it is not that simple. Like, trust me, I don't want to feel this way. And so I did some testing with the psychologist. We did a couple different tests, and like it came back like severe. Like I just have some problems, and I need to work through them. And so apparently I wasn't recording for whatever I just said, and now I don't know where I left off. Said something about seeing my therapist a few times a week, having insurance, not having insurance in the past, things affecting you now. Okay, there's like obvious things that bother me, and then there's things that I don't realize, and it's a culmination of a lot of things. I was born and raised in a broken home. I was around drugs, alcohol, sex, being molested, being raped, being in abusive relationships, and it all like, it just kind of like, it builds up to a lot of like what's ingrained in me that I really need to work through, and I know that I need to work through, and I'm very willing to do it. It's just not an easy process. My daughter is over 4 now, and we had always said that we didn't want more than a 4-year difference. If I were pregnant today, my daughter would be 5, and I'm kind of like nervous about that. And I had hoped that we'd be further along financially and in life, that it would feel safer to have a child. And I'm just like, when are we ever going to be safer? So my doctor did prescribe to me Provera, which is a medicine that forces you to have a period, and then Clomid, which forces you to ovulate. And then you kind of strategically have sex, hoping to get pregnant. I ended up starting to spot without taking the Provera. And you're supposed to take the Clomid 3 days after a period. And so I called my doctor and I said, well, it's just spotting. Should I take it? And my husband and I had been praying about it, because I was like, well, should we even have a child while I'm going through these emotional things and like, going to therapy and stuff. I'm like, well, you have 9 months to be working on some things, and we know that we want more children. And I do feel like if God wants me to get pregnant, then like I will, you know, like, because there's no guarantee that you'll get pregnant on Clomid, but we would at least, if I didn't get pregnant, be able to find out if it works. There's just so much. There's so much, and just feeling a lot of heaviness. And there was another big situation that was going on that I don't know if I can talk about, because it's like a family issue, but it, you know, like, it was just very stressful, and I feel like I'm very behind on a lot of things, and so that's a lot. So I guess I wanted to catch you guys up, and I wanted to let you know that I'm here and that I still want to be a part of the community, but I don't really know where I fit in because of the changes and because of where my, like, what I value more. I think I'm gonna film a stationery vlog because I have a ton of stationery, and I really like that, and I can show that to you guys. But it's not like I'm not the super crafty person that can sit and do tutorials. But I can talk, like I'm a chatty person. I had thought about vlogs, but I just, like, I'm not the type of person to let vlogging interfere in my life. So like I wouldn't, you know, for one, it's not like I'm out doing all these great adventures that people want to watch anyways, but like day-to-day life, I am not going to go to the grocery store and like hold up a camera and have people look at me. Like I'm not comfortable with that. And then I don't know how much of my daughter I want to share. And then the other thing is I don't want her to see me with a camera in my hand all the time filming myself. Like I just don't want to breed like self-centeredness in her. And I'm not saying that like the people that do it necessarily does, but I know that like if I'm vlogging all day every day, that she's gonna notice that, and she's gonna want to have a camera and have that pointed at her face because I'm her example. And that's the other thing, is I'm really trying to focus on like being a godly woman and a godly mother and a godly wife and friend, and trying to put God the priority, because I don't feel like he has been. Because if I choose to do all these other things before even spending any time with him in my day, my priorities aren't straight. And so I'm trying to change a lot of things a lot. So I would just really like some feedback. Like I know that I asked you guys to leave comments, and sometimes people are really great about commenting and sometimes not. And like I'm asking you to comment because I like to interact with you. Like I genuinely like the interaction. And I really would just kind of like to know what you would enjoy. I mean, I'm going to put out like what I want, but there's some stuff that like if it literally like just is not even an interest, then like I'm not, you know, because it does take time. It takes time to film, it takes time to edit and all those things. So, you know, even if I enjoy it, if it's not something that is even going to be watched or liked by people, then I'm not going to spend my time doing that where I can spend it doing something else. Does that make sense? So I really miss you guys. I miss everything. I just miss stuff, and I miss people, and I hope that that things will continue to progress. And just if you have any thoughts, questions, experiences of your own that you would like to share, like please feel free to message me, or please feel free to leave a comment. That was a lot of stuff, right? And I really hope, I know that I'm not good with my words. I know that I fumble. Like a lot of times I have to have my husband like filter, because like I know what's in my heart, but it doesn't necessarily project that way out of my mouth. And so if there's a certain message or way that I want something to be received, I filter it through him. So when I'm sitting here, I can say stuff. I really hope that I didn't offend anyone with what I said. And if like, I never intentionally want to offend someone. I never intentionally want to hurt someone. So like, please just try to understand that, and try to understand that a lot of, you know, things are coming from what I feel and what I believe, and it's not a attack towards others. So the holidays are coming up. Let me know what you're doing for the holidays. And I hope that you guys are all doing well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.